Carl Jung believed every person carries a shadow, a hidden side of ourselves we deny, repress, and pretend doesn't exist. But the shadow doesn't vanish. It waits, and the more we ignore it, the more it sabotages our lives. Today, we'll uncover Jung's hidden truth about the shadow, why it controls us, how it destroys us, and how facing it can transform everything. The shadow is the unconscious part of our personality, a collection of all the traits, impulses, and emotions we deem unacceptable and push out of our awareness. According to Jung, this isn't just about our evil side. It's anything we reject as incompatible with our ideal self. Imagine a person who prides themselves on being relentlessly kind and selfless. Deep down, however, they harbor a secret resentment for the demands others place upon them. They don't acknowledge this bitterness because it contradicts their self-image as a good person. This unacknowledged resentment is part of their shadow. Think of your mind as a house with a locked basement. Everything you find distasteful or inconvenient about yourself, you throw down there and lock the door. But those things don't disappear. Instead, they fester in the darkness, growing stronger, more distorted, and eventually they start rattling the floorboards, influencing the entire house from below. So, how does this hidden part of us actually manifest in our lives? The shadow often reveals itself through destructive patterns of self-sabotage. You might find yourself quitting right when you're on the verge of a major success, or repeatedly choosing toxic relationships that feel inexplicably familiar. These are often the shadow's work, undermining your conscious goals because its needs are not being met. Addictions and other destructive habits are also common expressions of the shadow, acting as coping mechanisms for the pain of repression. Jung understood what modern psychology calls the rebound effect. The more you try to suppress a thought or feeling, the more powerfully it erupts later. Consider the workaholic who relentlessly chases success. On the surface, they appear driven and ambitious. But beneath this mask, they may secretly feel worthless, using professional achievement as a desperate attempt to outrun their inner emptiness. Their frantic work is not a sign of strength, but a symptom of a shadow they cannot bear to face. One of the most insidious ways the shadow operates is through projection. Jung famously stated, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." We project the qualities we deny in ourselves onto the people around us. We essentially use others as a screen for our own unacknowledged darkness. For instance, think of someone who is constantly furious at the liars and fakes in the world. Often this intense emotional reaction is a sign that they are, in some way, lying to themselves. Their outrage at others' dishonesty is a convenient distraction from their own lack of self-honesty. Psychological experiments on projection confirm this tendency. It is far easier to see and blame a fault in the outside world than it is to confront that same fault within. The more vehemently we deny a trait in ourselves, the more likely we are to condemn it in others. The cost of ignoring the shadow is immense. It is a primary source of chronic anxiety, depression, and the feeling of being stuck in repeating life cycles. If you keep finding yourself in the same painful situations, it's often because your unconscious shadow is guiding your choices, leading you down the same old roads. This internal conflict inevitably spills into our external world, poisoning our relationships. The repressed anger, jealousy, or insecurity leaks out in passive-aggressive comments, sudden outbursts, or an inability to truly connect with others. The persona, the polite, socially acceptable mask we wear for the world, can only withstand so much pressure from the shadow below. Eventually it cracks, revealing the turmoil we've tried so hard to hide. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But the shadow is not an enemy to be vanquished. Jung's most profound insight was that the shadow is not inherently evil. It is simply a source of untapped energy and potential. Facing it is the key to transforming weakness into strength. The process is known as shadow integration, and it begins with awareness. This means paying attention to your emotional triggers, your projections, and your recurring self-sabotaging behaviors without judgment. The next step is acceptance, acknowledging that these disowned parts are a piece of you. Finally, integration involves consciously incorporating the shadow's energy into your life in a healthy way. Practical methods like journaling to explore difficult feelings, therapy to uncover unconscious patterns, and meditation for self-reflection can illuminate what lies in the dark. The result of this work is profound: a deep sense of authenticity, less self-betrayal, and a resilience born from wholeness. Jung's warning is clear: ignore your shadow, and it will rule you. Face it, and it becomes your ally. Your enemy isn't out there. It's in here, waiting in the dark. And the moment you shine a light on it, you finally become whole.